I've called it Take Your Life Back in Control. My name is Linda. I'm the director of the Autism Training Center. My son is autistic. I have trained in the field of autism and spent 4 years in the bedroom with him, in a room with him, teaching him life skills, reading, writing, speaking, not hitting, all these skills of life. I spent 4 years with my autistic son doing that. I have also known violence with my son. So it's not only with the husband. It did happen with my son as well. And domestic violence is something very close to my heart. So I've studied quite thoroughly about it. Next slide. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to put forgiveness as the first slide is because I'm going to read it and then I'll explain you why. Forgiveness and acceptance is a decision to release the negative emotion connected to a past event that has hurt us. It is an emotional tool that helps us commit to moving forward and feeling better. We may choose to forget the transgression or end our relationship with the wrongdoer, or we may not. Either way, forgiveness is a decision that allows us to let go of the resentment, bitterness, anger that hold us back from personal growth and well-being. Your negative feelings about a past transgression and make the conscious decision to forgive. So first of all, when we talk about forgiveness, I really wanted to mention that whatever happened didn't happen because of us. It was, first of all, the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But I also think that sometimes we have to be aware that in order for us to heal, and in order for us to grow, and in order for us to accept what happened, we need to forgive to be able to move on. It's a very, very hard task to do. I haven't done it 100%. And I'm really still on that journey, as I explained to you, because it's very recent for me as well. But I think that what I did understand from all that tests, and it was a relationship of 5 years of marriage, 4 years of abuse, 4 years of lots of insulting, lots of swearing, 4 times grabbing, and 1 time spitting. So it wasn't like 5 years where I was being always on the floor, or it wasn't this kind of violence. It was still, for me, huge violence. And I had to forgive myself to stay that long, because I had the means to leave. I have a job, can take care of myself, but I have a baby of 2 years and a half with my ex-husband. So that's the reason why forgiveness is very, very important. I feel that sometimes if we talk too much about what happened, we kind of stay there forever. And subhanAllah, I think it's also not for the other person, but it's really, really for yourself, for myself. It was really, really for myself. And every morning I used to say, forgiveness, Linda, is good for me, is a gift for me, because then it will help me to move on. So yeah, that's the first slide. Second slide. So what has helped me to feel at peace, healthy, and happier? First of all, is making the decision. Making the decision, changing the lock, and saying no more. So it was a very hard decision for me. It took me 4 years to make that decision. So the day I decided to make a change was the day I believed in myself, and the day I knew I was headed toward a happier me. And I think it was really when it spat on my face in November that I had to build myself before making a decision. So the spitting happened. And after the spitting, I said, I've got to do something. I've got to do something. There is something I've got to change in myself. So I didn't make the decision straight after the spitting. After, I will explain you how it happened. What I did, it was feeding my body with the right food because it deserved it. I changed my whole diet, trying to lose weight, because the reason why sometimes I was very overweight, and sometimes we think like very self-flow about us, like self-worth wasn't at a high standard, still not high, but getting better. Walk in nature has helped me a lot. Fixing my sleep in order to do Fajr has helped me a lot. staying away from toxic relationship, even with not only with husband, but also with people. So people draining you, people taking from you, people always asking you to sort their things. Really being on my own and finding coach. So I did find coach. I didn't do that on my own. I had counseling and I had a coach in SelfWorth. So someone really helping me to work on my self-worth. Also, the fact of realizing that I deserve to be healthy and happy. This one is so powerful and really changed my whole view, because I think it was like, oh, it's okay, I will cope with that. I'll cope with that. I'll cope with that. But at one point, my body couldn't cope. I lost 60% of my hearing from my right ear. I cannot hear anymore. And the doctors say to me, we just don't have a clue. But I knew why I've lost my hearing. It's like my system said, that's it. I don't want to hear anymore. So it was my body kind of protected itself from the harm that I was hearing, because I was hearing lots of insult. And just to realize that I wasn't here to brought her to be sick and miserable, because I was very miserable. Next slide. So if you're stuck there, the 4 questions to ask yourself, you have to say to yourself, what could be my best version? Who do I want to be really? If nothing was holding me back, I would. What would you do from your life? Would you go back to study? Would you go back to work? Would you go back to exercise? Would you try to lose weight? Would you try? So basically, instead of being stuck to a certain position, you have to ask yourself these questions sometimes. And sometimes you have to be very, very honest to yourself and speak to yourself with lots of self-compassion and self-love. When I speak to myself, yes, I'm judging myself, guys, in a PPT, but I'm also giving myself lots of self-compassion. So really to kind of say, when I reach the end of my life, I want to look back and say, what do I want to say? Do I want to say, what do I want to say? I was abused for 20 years and I didn't do that decision. So what did I want to say? This is where I realized that I had to get out. I had to, even though I was terrified to raise baby alone, and I'm still am, but you know, it's like my heart was telling me to do something. Also, the person I am becoming now, who is this person? Am I being a happier person? Am I being good in myself? Am I feeling good in my skin? Because I wasn't before. I was scared. I was walking on eggshell. I was looking at his eye contact every morning to see if he was in a happy mood or bad mood. What would be the day like? When the phone was ringing, if I wouldn't pick up the phone, it would be the end of the world. I had to put my camera for him to see me where I was. God, that was very heavy, guys. And I wasn't becoming a good person. I wasn't, because I was very miserable and I was doing people pleasing. Basically, I was complying to everything he needed from me. So I wasn't becoming my person. I wasn't following my values. And what would be a good day look like? So like you think about what would be a good day for me. A good day is a day where I take care of myself. I go for my walk. I do my prayer on time. I stick to my fajr. Because the thing is that, I don't know if you have experienced it, but when you are in this situation, you get very sad, very, very sad, and very depressed. And I was stuck there. And I was saying to myself, oh my God, find me the strength, give me the strength to be able to raise and have a good day. And when I changed that lock the day after, I certainly had a good day. And I was crying the whole day, but deep down, I knew that I did service to myself. So think about, what would I like to become, really? Next slide. I also wanted to speak about shame. The reason why I stayed in that relationship is because of lots of shame as well. What will I say to them? What will I say to them? Will I say to my mom, I just married for 5 years and that's it? So, 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 the reason why I stayed in abuse is because I didn't know how to deal with the shame. And that's why I did something about shame right now. And I said, shame destroys a person's self-esteem and sense of who they are. Because it did destroy me. It did keep me somewhere where I wasn't meant to be for a very long time. And it was just because of the name of shame, because I had lots of shame in me. People with shame experience the following: find themselves in a relationship with people who encourage the ongoing experience of low self-worth. So basically, even if you studied, you're high educated, you have a status, the person will say, you are dumb, you're stupid, you're like this, and you just take it, and you just take it. And with years, it has an impact on your brain. Yes, it has, because you've heard all sorts. Also, to isolate themselves from others and find it hard to ask for help. I had the shame. I couldn't really talk about it at the beginning to my best friends. So it's all about thinking, God, I feel ashamed of that situation, and finding ways around it. But with time, it did take me a long time. And have self-condemning attitude and talk negatively about myself, which can lead to self-loathing and self-sabotaging behavior, overeating, for example. So saying to me, but it's okay, oh, it was just a push, oh, it was just a word, it was just, no, it was something, but because of my shame, I kept it and kept it and kept it. Also, to seek perfection to avoid future shame. I was trying to be perfect for that man. Seriously, guys, I was trying to be really the good woman, like one of these women who started to cook like I never cooked before. Started to make cake like I never made cake before, because I was thinking he's always sad, so let me try to find a way to make him happy. But at the end, when I saw that for Eid, I did like 6 sorts of cakes, and it was still a sad day, I knew there was something wrong there. And I said, oh my God, help me, find me the strength with baby, because baby was always in my mind. That's why I waited for a long time. Be overly nice to others in hope to prove their worth. So I was being over nice to him, always forgiving him, always, even if he didn't say sorry. So basically, it was just overly nice, and it really comes back to trauma from childhood, from the inner child, the way you experience traumatic experience. And I am a child of domestic violence, so my dad did that to my mother, and 39 years later, I lived and attracted the same person. So whether I like it or not, the fact that I've seen that, I didn't want to give that to baby. And I gave it to baby for 2.5 years. But after 2.5 years, I said no, because I don't want my baby to wake up at 39 years old and say, oh my God, I have been affected. So yes, being overly nice was also something I was doing. Next step, next slide, please. So what does equal shame? So being subjected to abuse is humiliating and demeaning. So if someone's actually come and spits at your face, the first thing you will do is basically just change the lock the day after. But I didn't do that. It took me 3 months to do that. I did something during the 3 months to be able to get that strength, but I didn't just change the lock. So and this is where I realized that I had lots of shame inside, So somehow being the victim of abuse seems to make us into less of a person. So you forget who you are. You forget your values, you forget your studies, you forget your background, you forget everything. We may feel that we are letting our family down, our status, or even abuser, because sometimes we think, oh my God. Like I used to think, what am I going to say to his family? This was one of my worries. So leaving may also feel as though we are giving up, admitting defeat, and admitting the situation is beyond our ability to deal with. And it's exactly what I was saying to a friend today. I was saying to her, it's very hard for me to accept that this person will never change. And it's really to be honest about your feeling and say, yes, I did love that person. Yes, the situation was really bad. But at the end of the day, it's about thinking, how can I get out of it and how can I be a better person? So quite a few victims of domestic abuse have been in abusive relationship previously and may feel ashamed of having chosen the wrong person twice or more often. So it can happen as well. Or we may be convinced that the fault really does lie with us. Absolutely and true, but they make us feel, and I know until now, I get some text, it's your fault, you did it, you are making me upset, you are making me angry. I've heard that sentence thousands of times, even from the father-in-law. The father-in-law said, you've got to be patient as well. You've got to calm down. I've seen you. So it's about you saying to yourself, a bit like gaslighting, like, am I sane? You know, even your sanity is just basically in the story. But it's not. I simply had to learn something which was change my heart. Next one. So why was I stuck here? Responsibility, guilt, and shame. Responsibility for the child, it's our son. The guilt of also not being able to change the person or failing the marriage, and the shame that I always had. So abusers blame their victims. They do, and these work a lot on our brain, whether we like it or not, even though we are very strong. Because they deny the responsibilities, they put everything on us. And they always say, it's your fault. There is a book I'm reading right now, it's called It's All My Fault. Because it's all my fault. I don't even need to ask, I know it's my fault. So they deny responsibility and focus on the victim's problem and shortcoming. They attempt to convince the victim that abuse is a justified and rational attempt to solve problems that begin with the victim. Women in such relationship can irrationally begin to feel responsible for their abuser behavior. I did feel responsible at one point. This mistaken sense of responsibility can cause women to change themselves in an attempt to stop the abuse. So I was trying to change the world, and I was trying to change him. Even after the relationship, women may find themselves feeling overly responsible for others. So like, yes, I have to fix that. I have to make sure that he sees his son. I have to, and then you have people next to you say, no, you don't have to do that. So that's why it's very important to have the right people next to you, because you need people who brings you back and say to you, no, actually, you're wrong. You don't need to be responsible for whatever he's doing. You're just responsible for your own action. The sense of responsibility is at the core of feelings of guilt and shame. Guilt suggests that one has done something wrong or made a mistake. Similarly, shame suggests that the victim is flawed, not good enough, and not deserving of the respect and dignity that others are. So basically, even your dignity is at stake because you're being criticized 24/7. So you don't even know, and that's why you lose your value as well. So victims commonly feel both guilt and shame about having been victimized. The abusers reinforce this by denying his own responsibility. That's not my fault, it's all because of you, for his behavior, and blaming the victim. So this happened most of the time. And I didn't know how to stop it. And I stayed there. So it was just very important for me to speak about that because it's something very close to my heart. Next slide, please. I also was in denial. So victims often feel extreme disappointment in themselves. So I was, for not being able to accurately predict when violence will occur. So it's like thinking like I was sometimes walking on eggshells, thinking, oh my God, today he's in a bad mood. So let me just, so always being scared of what's going to happen next. Victims also experience guilt at letting things get this far. So when he spat at my face, I was saying to myself, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? Not to deserve that, but what did I do to show to someone that I could be treated in that way? So it wasn't about him anymore. Seriously, it was all about me. And this is where something happened and I really shifted my brain after this event. This guilt can lead to denials, not only lying about and covering up the abuse. I did cover up the abuse with my family at first, but then eventually I had to tell the truth. Minimizing the abuse by trying to convince themselves that it's only a scratch. It happens, it doesn't happen that often, and it isn't really bad. And when I changed the lock and I sat down and I had to do this silence meditation just with myself, after my meditation, I just said, like, yeah, Allah, give me the strength to see things as they are. Seriously, to stop lying to myself. Because really, I was really, really, really lying to myself just because I loved that person and just because I wanted him to change. But I wasn't giving myself any credit, any worth. So how can someone give me worth and credit if I'm not giving it to myself? Next slide. Then one day, I finally understood. React to or express was feeling his personal choice made by the abuser, not something brought on by the victim. So it's something they make with their own hands. An abuser can make the choice to talk through an issue or to leave the room until they cool down. So if you think about, they are really responsible for their own action because they could just leave the room, they could just leave the house. So the decision to batter, hit, insult, or spit at someone, and versus the responsible for the violence, always rests with the abuser. So it's like we are all responsible for our action. So it's about thinking like this is something that happened, and therefore I'm thinking, okay, it happened, but it's not my fault. It's not my fault. And it's really important for us to know that, because we are really blamed, especially in our Muslim society. Parents blame us, fathers are not blame us, mother-in-law blame us. So always saying to yourself, like holding your heart and say, it's not my fault. That's very important. Next one, Fatima. So what I understood as well is that my love was inappropriate. So it's only after when this incident happened 3 months ago that I realized that what this ayah meant. And of mankind are some who take for worship others beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as rivals to Allah. They love them as they love Allah. But those who believe love Allah more than anything else. If only those who do wrong could see, when they will see the torment, that all power belongs to Allah, and that Allah is severe in punishment. Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 165. So what I did after that, I actually got a private teacher, a private Islamic teacher, because even though I was practicing and I was into Islam, I knew there was something wrong there. And I knew I had to fix something in myself, in my heart, in my deen, in my practice. The first thing my teacher told me was this ayah. She said, you have to be very careful on how you love people. Because if you love people too much, they will become your weakness. And when they become your weakness, you will transgress. And you will not be able to stop the injustice, because you will just be very, very blind. So when she gave me that ayah, I realized that I had to change my practice of Islam. I had to be another person to be able to take that decision to end the relationship, and not expecting change from him, because I was always dreaming of that change happening. Second, next slide, Fatima. So what happened is that after that, I had a 36-degree change. It was the time for me to say, you know what, I'm going to have a new perspective on that. I was very weak after the incident in November, but I didn't have the strength yet to leave because of baby's age. But I realized that when you focus on problems, you have more problems. And when you focus on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have more opportunities. And sister, at the end, I will read the chat with Fatima when I finish, because otherwise I'm going to be going back and forth. So at the end, we can have a discussion. And what I realized is that I had to put Allah first. And I kept saying to myself, sisters, Subhana Rabbi la ilaha illa anta kuntu min ad-dhalimin. Subhana Rabbi la ilaha illa anta kuntu min ad-dhalimin. Not saying it to you guys like, I wasn't saying it to me like, oh, I hate myself, I'm a bad person. No, I'm not saying it like this, not at all. I'm saying it with lots of self-compassion. So when Yunus was in the whale, he knew he left his people and he wasn't supposed to leave his people. And then the whale ate him. The only thing he could say in that well was, Subhana Rabbi la ilaha illa anta inni kuntu min ad-dhalimin. God, I was among the wrongdoers. And when my teacher said to me, Linda, you have loved the wrong way. I'm not joking, guys. It's like someone came and gave me new glasses. And I was saying to myself, I'm not going to focus on his change anymore. And I'm really going to focus on me and my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why we called it, take your heart, like give your heart to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because we get so overwhelmed and so obsessed about the fear, because I was scared. I was very scared of him. And then you kind of see things not clearly anymore. You do not see things clearly anymore. So it's about focusing on Allah and say to yourself, Allah has my back. Allah will open other doors. Allah will give me strength, because it's all our fears that brings us in situation where people can really, really undermine us. And you have to think about that, your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if for tonight, sisters, you just hang up at 10 and you only think and you only ask yourself this question, how is my relationship with Allah? Wallahi, sister, you will change lots of things in your life. Because then you will take the strategies to move away from him to your relationship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's like you're going to change completely the obsession thing, the thinking, the scare, the fear. You're going to say, no. I'm looking at the wrong direction right now. So it wasn't about him anymore. It was about me and fixing my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Next slide, sister. Subhanallah. Fears, sister. Fears. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah does not burden a soul beyond that it can bear. Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 286. I think that was my biggest fear, because I'm in my 40s now and I didn't want to raise baby alone. Seriously. I've raised a child when I was 20 and 25. That was okay. But with my age, I was saying, oh my God, I need that help. I need that help. What I'm going to tell baby? What am I going to tell baby? And after the 3 months after the incident, when I built myself with strategies I'm going to share now, I simply looked at baby because after the 3 months, he pulled my hair. And after he pulled my hair, then I changed the lock. And I say to baby, I hold baby in my hand and I say, baby, we're going to have a life, a different life. And I use just that term, different life. And he looked at me and he said, okay, different life. And I said, daddy will have a flat and mommy will have a flat because we need space. And I was very honest to my baby. And I say, because daddy shouts too much. And that was the only thing I said about him. And I just said it once. And now when he asks for daddy, I just say daddy's in his flat. But I really try not to put emotion into it or drama into it. It was my fears. So I had to control my fears. I had to go and see someone. I had to go and see a counselor. I had to go and see my coach. I had to go out there and spit it out and then work with it. But it's not because of the fear that someone will spit to me twice in my face. Once was enough. So I really had to control my fears, sister. Yeah, because I had lots of them. Next one, sister. And my second fear was the loneliness. Oh my God, this one was even harder. This one was thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be lonely, I'm going to be alone. How am I going to cope with that? But I'm not saying I'm getting it yet, because it's very recent and it's very fresh for me. But I'm seeing good things out of that. But not 100% yet, because I'm still really in pain. But I'm sure that in 1 or 2 years, we'll be able to say loneliness is my best friend. You know, I think you have to make loneliness your best friend and really use the thing that is better to be alone than in bad company. Because if that company destroys you without even realizing that it destroys you, without even apologizing because it destroys you, this company is indeed a bad company. So I had to make loneliness not to fear anymore. And I had to fight my fears. So that was the second one. The one who remembers Allah is never lonely. This is why I had to go back to Allah. Big time. I really had to look into my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Next one, Fatima. Self-worth. I had to look into that. So after I looked into my relationship with Allah, I actually contacted a coach in self-worth. I see her 4 times a month now. It's very, 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 very regular for me. It's very important because if I felt like there were lots of things I had to work inside myself. So self-worth. The only one who gets to decide your worth is you. It doesn't come from your bank account or the number of friends you have. It doesn't come from what someone else says you are worth. It's called self-worth for a reason. It comes from you. So same for decision. Decision comes from you. Changing your life comes from you. Taking action comes from you. But you need to find the you to be able to do that. Because sometimes you're lost, you can't find the you. It comes from being yourself and being proud of who you are. It comes from being someone that you can count on and someone you love. The numbers will change with time, but that one change is who you are deep inside. And in this relationship, I wasn't me. I wasn't me inside. I was dead inside. So it's only when you kind of breathe again and see things better, you say, I have to find the real me. Beautiful, limitless, wonderful, creative, strong, capable. And that is where your worth comes from. Today I was teaching to my student the word courageous. And he said to me, teacher, are you courageous? And I looked at him and I said, wow, I love this question, Ishmael. I say, sometimes I'm not, but sometimes I am. He said, okay. And he asked me, he said, how am I going to do that, teacher? How am I going to be courageous? Because I'm very scared. You know, he's got special needs, obviously. And I say to him, I look at him and I say, touch your heart and trust your heart that you are courageous. And he loved it. You know, he touched his heart and he said, yes, I am courageous. And when I left him today, I had this feeling of, if this child could only get that courage is in yourself, but you have to find it inside yourself because it's dormant. When people come and destroy you, whether you like it or not, you're not courageous anymore. You are dead and depressed. And when I say to him, touch your heart hard and find it inside, I knew that I was giving him a tool for life. And I think this is what we have to remember, sisters, with all the tests we've been through, all of us here, we have to find courage in us. Really, really find it, because all of us are someone very special, because just by bearing this in itself, it's a very hard test. Next slide, Fatima. The other thing was practicing self-compassion, because I was judging myself very hard. So you have the self-kindness, the mindfulness, and the connectedness. So it's all about really going back inside yourself, calming yourself down, reducing your stress, your anxiety, and really, really calming yourself down. Really, really trying to say, okay, now it's to 8:40. Let me stay at 8:40. Next one. Self-respect, self-worth, self-compassion, my 3 favorite words. So they became indeed my 3 favorite words. I've changed my room completely. In my room, there is only nice, positive things all over my bedroom. I've changed lots of things in my life, but I had to change the environment. And I'm trying to do an act of self-love every day. So for example, today my act of self-love was getting red roses for me, because I knew that if someone treated me like this, it was just because I wanted to be loved, really and truly, nothing else. And I was saying to myself, if I wanted to get love and I got abused to that point, I barely can learn to love myself a bit more. So you have to find things you like in your life. You love that, things that you feel like, yeah, this is me, this is my passion, this is something I want to do. And then you tap into it. And then when you tap into it, you become yourself. And walking away was my option. So sometimes walking away is the only option. Not because you want to make someone miss you or realize they took you for granted, which they did, but because you finally respect yourself enough. It's all about respecting yourself to know that you deserve better. And when I say you deserve better, I'm not saying about deserving another person. I'm not talking about that. Deserving peace is better. Being in a bedroom with your peace and not walking on eggshell is better. Subhanallah. So I'm not talking in that perspective at all, but I'm really talking about deserving good for you, something tayyib, something good. That's very important, sisters. Next slide. Changing our nafs. Yeah, that was what I had to do. I took two Islamic teachers, one coach in counseling, and I had to change my nafs. And it was very hard, sister. But every time I remember these 4 areas that I'm going to share. Allah does not change your condition until you change yourself. Allah never burdens us soul beyond what He can bear. And you may hate to think that is good for you. Because I was hating things I was doing. For example, one of my things that my teacher told me, she gave me to do this fast Monday and Thursdays and the 3 days. And seriously, fasting is very, very hard for me. Very hard. Some people it's very easy. But for me, it's very hard. And I was saying to myself, Linda, you have to change your nafs. You have to change your nafs. You have to change your nafs. So it's kind of building resilience in yourself. Same, when you leave someone, you think, oh, I love that person. Maybe this person is not good for you. Subhanallah. And if you believe, you will be tested. This is life. And tawakkul ala Allah is very, very important. The fact of bearing and being patient with Allah subhanahu. Like saying, Allah is the one who would give me things. Al-Wakil. Using His name. Put His 100 names, wherever you pray, sister, on the wall and try to repeat them and try to use them in your life. Ya Fattah, or the one who opens door. Open the door for me. Ya Wadud, the one who gives love. Give me love. Because this is why I got abused for 4 years. So it's about using Allah's name and putting it in your real life. And sister, this is very, very powerful. So is Al-Wakil. And again, my favorite that I had to remember every day, God does not change the condition of the people unless they change what is in themselves. And sometimes Allah remove a particular person from your life because the relationship no longer serves a purpose. There is no more positive growth. It's like we meet someone, sometimes it's incompatibility, sometimes our time is done, a reason and a season. You meet people for a reason and for a season. So we have got to learn to recognize that. It's very hard because I'm one person who's very clingy and struggling with that. But I've got I don't know, you probably know her, but Yasmin Mujahid has got a channel where you pay £12 a month. And Yasmin Mojahed, in her talk, in her channel, she's got 1,000 talk about attachment and detachment. And seriously, I've been studying Yasmin back, forth, all the ways, because I was trying to find an Islamic perspective on how to detach myself. That was like an addiction, someone treating you so bad, but you still with them, you know? So I had to work something in myself. There is no more positive growth. Learn to recognize it. Don't run after that person who is not meant to be part of the next journey of your life. Moving on. Next slide. I was running after love and I was humiliated because of that. Subhanallah. قل إن كنتم تحبون الله فاتبعون يحببكم الله ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم والله غفور رحيم قل أطيعوا الله والرسول. This ayah was very important. And when she said that to me, my teacher, I said, I love Allah, teacher. I said, I know you love Allah. But she said to me, if you are in this test, you have to remember that you have to follow Muhammad Sallallahu as well. And there was lots of things I wasn't doing in Sunnah. I love Muhammad Sallallahu and I love his story. But she was saying to me that, you see the obsession you have against that person, and checking the text and the emails and no. Get the book of the life of Rasul and focus yourself on something else. And yes, she was right. If you should love Allah, then follow Muhammad Sallallahu and Allah will love you. And all this abuse was because I wanted to be loved. So deep down, and I'm asking you, and inshallah, Allah love all of us. Because sisters, can you imagine if Allah loves us? We don't need anything else. So always remember, I want the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what will help me? What will help me to get closer to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And for me, it was to follow the Sunnah. Because I wasn't really aware of it. I wasn't doing things related to it. Next slide, Fatima. So after the incidents, when enough was enough, I said, like, I'm going to build some strategies. And I had a planning. Fajr, walk, losing weight. And then I added fasting Mondays, Thursday, the 3 days of the month. And what my teacher said to me, she said to me, never make a decision when you are weak. It was such a beautiful advice she gave me. MashaAllah. And I said to her, Na'am, why? And she said to me, if you are weak, your emotion will overwhelm you. That the decision you will make is not stable. But if you make a decision, but your decision, you stick to your 5 salat, you stick to your fajr, you stick to your sunnah, you hold on to the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you go to another dimension of taking care of your nafs, and changing your nafs, you're not going to be the same person. And I gave myself this 3 months, subhanallah. And the neuroplasticity of the brain, when you study the brain, because I've done some study related to the brain due to the autism thing, they say that after 63 days, you can change so many things in the brain when you keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. And yes, I had my calendar, sister, and I was counting my days. And I was saying, my God, I want to be stronger in 63 days. And it's been 4 months, and I'm really trying to hold on to the practice, which is hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying to myself, I have to find strength. Because if I don't find that strength, I will be abused again. So it was my way out, really, because I was stuck, sisters. Next slide. The virtue of fasting 3 days each month. So it's starting tomorrow, but actually, so Saturday, Sunday, and Monday will be the 3 days. I had lots of anger, sister. Lots of anger. And I didn't know what to do with it. But I couldn't put it on my 16 years old or my 19 years old. I had to find ways to take care of the anger. So I started to do lots of exercise, boxing, combat. But my teacher, she also said to fast these 3 days. And she was explaining to me the 3 days are the days where the body is in, like, you, everyone is very upset and you have all this anger, people. And I was thinking, oh my God, I have lots of anger to deal with. And And yes, this has helped me. I had to purify my heart, and this was one of the things that were very important when I had to do my change. If you want to do it, starting tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and it's changing every month. Next one, sister. And then also to change my 360 degrees, really to think about Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as I was trying to listen to more lectures about him. Yes, I knew his story. Yes, I entered Islam when I was 17, so I wasn't brought up in Islam. But when I entered Islam, I had a very good teacher. So she told me all things about Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But I wasn't doing what he was doing. I always say, oh no, that's too hard. I love my food. I need to eat. I need my tea. I need my coffee. But because I was in a wheel, like I was so dark, sister, I was so deep down after the incident that I was saying to myself, yeah, Allah, give me the strength to come back because I have to raise that baby. I have to raise that baby. This baby needs my smile. And deeds are presented on Mondays and Thursdays. And I love that my deeds be presented while I'm fasting. It was, again, a nafs, like changing your habit, changing the way you see things. But it's a good practice indeed. Hard one, but a good one. Next one. The other thing that I did, and that my teacher was actually quite strict with me, was the dhikr. She said to me that my heart was full of love for that person, and she was so right. And she said the only way to clean your heart is dhikr. And I said, how am I going to do dhikr? I mean, I do dhikr. She said, no, you're not doing dhikr. I said to you, when you make dhikr, you actually even have to time yourself. Say, just seriously do some dhikr. And because for me it's very hard, our baby, I have to clean, I have to do, I forget to do it. So I said to myself, you know what, every day I'm going to sit down and for half an hour I'm going to do some dhikr. And then I started to do lots of dhikr, sister. Allahu Akbar, astaghfirullah, la hawla wa quwwata illa billah, whatever was coming to my mind, you know. And then when baby would be asleep and I have a few seconds, I would really like stay there and really be silent and do some dhikr, because I was asking Allah so badly to put that person out of my heart. And I didn't know what was the medicine, what was the antidote. So dhikr has helped me a lot, but try to do it really consistently every day. And try to say to yourself, well, after this time, I would do it. After this time, I would do it. There are 5 prayers in a day. I would do 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes after my prayer. Just try to kind of focus yourself on it, like give it as a task. And lots of Allahumma salli ala Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and lots of istighfar, lots of it. Next slide, Fatima. Also, the other thing I've done is silence, because I was a bit traumatized after all of that, to be honest with you. I became very silent with him in the house anyway after the incident. I wasn't talking as much, but what I was doing after my fajr was really to stay with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and really to pour my heart to him, because I didn't know what to do. I knew I had been humiliated like I never had in my life. And I knew I didn't deserve that treatment, but I didn't know how to get out of it. So I just used silence to speak to Allah and really ask Allah for answers. This has helped me a lot, just to be silent, just to speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The soul always knows what to do to heal itself. The challenge is to silence the mind. And because we think all day 27, we find it hard to listen to our own gut feeling. And sometimes we don't even listen to our gut feelings. And we make the wrong decision. So when you practice more silence, then eventually you can hear your gut feeling better and clearly. Next one. Green space as well was very helpful for me. I will make sure that I was in green space every day for 1 hour. And sometimes when I was very sad and I didn't have that strength to walk or run, I would just sit down on a bench. But I really made sure that I was like 1 hour next to the green space where I could just breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, because there is two systems in the body, the parasympathetic and sympathetic system and the sympathetic system. So one which is for fighting and one which is to calm you down. And because of the abuse, my body was scared. So I was always in a fight mode, like protecting myself. So I had to find ways. Even now that we're not together, every day I'll be 1 hour in green space, because I'm just telling to my body, you are okay, you are safe, you're okay, you're safe. So it's just about putting yourself in a good mood, like in the connection with nature, and it will really help you with connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. Next one. Yes, sleeping earlier and eating less. That was also one of my jihad, because I really wanted to lose weight as well. The abuse that I endured really put me to emotional eating. So for 4 years, I did lots of emotional eating. I didn't know what else to do. So yeah, when I decided to sleep by 10 o'clock, technology off by 9, working for Fajr, this has changed my life. This has really, really changed my life. Just these 3 things, sisters. The fact waking up Fajr and not thinking like Fajr was an option. Fajr is Fajr. Baby or no baby, I have to wake up for Fajr. And I have to sleep by 10. That was very, very important. Yeah, so sleeping earlier and Fajr, sisters. And Fajr, it's silence strengthen you. And it's so true. Just listen to the bird and the silence in it. There is something magical in Fajr. Next one, sister. And then no more technology. Try to delete that like 1 hour before, because we are so, I don't know if you would agree with me when we have a chat at the end, but we're just checking our text and messages. What did they say? What did they say? No, oh my God. And then we get so like overwhelmed by it. It's like you're gonna say to yourself, no, by 9 p.m. my phone is off, away, and I'm gonna sleep at 10 so I can wake up for Fajr. So take time to calm down, to put the phones away, to do some bath, breathing exercise. And yes, before sleeping, read Quran and Adkar and Tasbih Fatima, and then go to bed. These are very good strategies. They're very small strategies, sisters, but they are very, very powerful strategies. Next one, Fatima. The other sunnah I've done, but that was personal, because I just felt like there was something to cure in my heart. I was very serious about it. I really wanted to clean my heart. So I decided to do hijama every 4 weeks. So I just went to that person and I poured my heart to that lady. This lady has lots of hikmah, mashallah. And she told me very good things that I had to learn. The other thing that I've been doing every morning is to have one spoon of haba sauda. Again, the Sunnah, Muhammad Sallam said that there is no illness that haba sauda cannot cure. And as I explained to you, I've lost 60% of my hearing during the abuse. And I'm 40 years old, and I'm very keen to hear again for my right hair. And I miss my hair. And I always ask Allah to give it back to me, subhanAllah. So I think it's just finding ways of the Sunnah to get better. Also, the other thing which is very good to add, haba sauda is, if you go to, maybe I didn't spell it right, Fatima can spell it for me in the chat. It's a grain, black seed. Yeah, thank you, my friend. Yes, black seed. It's a grain, and then I drink it as a syrup myself. So the lady who does hijama for me, I can put her number at the end if you want to contact her. She sells it for me. Yeah, it was very important for me. It was part of my journey. Still, I have haba sauda. It's very important. And also the other things that, don't think, oh my God, it's too hard, I can't do that, and don't put barrier to it, but try to say to yourself, I've been through a test. I need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help me. I need that barakah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Try to do like 2 rakat of sunnah, and then 4 rakat of sunnah, and then 6, and then 8. Try to build on that, especially that Ramadan is coming. This is very good, because it's very good to do this 12 rakat of sunnah a day. But if it's too hard, just do 2 after Maghrib, 2 before Dhuhr, just to build on that. I think it will really help you to make prayer easier for you and smoother, and to have a better relationship with us. Next slide, sister. And before sleeping, sister, or even when you wake up in the morning, is to do a grateful journal, because we get so overwhelmed in the sadness that we focus on the bad, and it's not something we're guilty of. It's just life, because we are overwhelmed and we are scared. So always to remember that Allah said, if you thank me, I will surely increase you. So to have a grateful journal, but that wouldn't just be, for example, today in my 5 point, because I have 5 point every night before sleeping, will be today I was grateful that I told few sisters very close to my heart what happened to me. I'm being very specific. Or today I'm very grateful that baby slept at 8 o'clock. I'm not joking, I'm very grateful, because I was going to take him to my neighbor, then come back in and start to talk. And I hadn't organized it. But you see how Allah made it happen? I wanted to do something good, and Allah made the baby sleep. And for me, this is the hikmah of Allah. This is the wisdom of Allah. This is the power of Allah. That when you try to do good, Allah will always find a way out for you. And this is very good to remember when we are stuck, sister. Subhanallah.